Hey everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy and to another episode of Foundation Friday for over 50s. I know, 2 in 2 weeks, what is going on? Well, I got a little behind in my foundation reviews is what's going on, and people have been clamoring for a review on DIOR Backstage Face and Body Foundation. New release from DIOR, very exciting. Retails for $40, so not as expensive as I was thinking it would be, and it's for 1.6 ounces, so you get a lot more in here than with your standard foundation. And it comes in 40 shades, so they're really going for something that is like a professional's would be in a pro makeup artist kit, from the packaging to the style of foundation. So it offers all kinds of coverage from very light to medium to full. It's for all skin types. It's for sensitive, oily, dry, combo, normal, you name it. They say it's for you. It has a natural matte finish, and they also say that it's waterproof and sweat proof. So for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Angie. Welcome to my channel. I'm 55 now. I'm going to be 56 this weekend. Holy cow, on the slippery slope over to 60, and I try makeup for mature skin. So I have wrinkles, I have enlarged pores, I have sun damage, I have just, you know, that kind of stuff that makes makeup not work as perfectly as it does on the younger gals. And if you're looking for a true road test on true mature skin, then you are in the right place. So this is housed in a nice plastic bottle with a squeezy dropper top. This is mainly silicone and water based, but it also has a really high amount of SD alcohol. It's the third ingredient on the list, so it may just be way too high for some people, older people with dry skin, in which case you may be at this point like, I'm out, I am not wearing that, it's going to be too drying for my skin. But people with combo or oily skin, or maybe even normal skin, can sometimes use something with that much alcohol in it and be perfectly fine. The other thing it's full of is fragrance. It has a very perfumey fragrance. You know, a lot of these high-end brands, they have their signature scent, and DIOR, of course, is no different. Very perfumey. I gotta say, when I put it on, I definitely smell it, but it dissipates fairly quickly, and so I don't continue to smell it. DIOR recommends that you apply just a little bit of it with your fingers for light coverage, that you do 2 coats with a brush for medium coverage, and that you can build it up to full coverage. So the 40 shades are organized very well on the website. They actually have a really nice shade matching chart that you can go to that I found really helpful, and it divides the shades into fair, medium, tan, and deep, and then within each of those they offer the foundation in warm, neutral, cool, and rosy tones. So taking a look at the swatches, the first one is 2.0N, the second one is 2.5N, which is what I'm wearing today, the third one is 3.0N, and the fourth one is 3.5N. So those are all neutral shades, and as you can see, they are a little bit on the warm side. Like, I feel like 2.5 is a really good shade match for me, but mainly because I'm using self-tanner right now, and I am a little like warmer and tanner than usual. All right, let's move on to the daily footage. So day one, I tried this with my new favorite sunscreen, which is the Make Prem UV Defense Me Fluid. I didn't use primer with it. I applied it on one side with a Morphe flat top kabuki brush, and I applied it on the other side with my fingers. I found this to be super easy to apply with the brush and with the fingers. For a first pass, it's really nice lightweight coverage. The brush side, it's like invisible on the skin. I feel like it's slightly sheerer on the brush side than it is on the finger side. That gives it a little bit more coverage. So I'm just going to try to even it up by adding a little bit more on the brush side, but I do like how the brush side looks, that it's like so invisible. It builds and blends easily, but the coverage was still pretty sheer with a pretty major amount of redness, veins, and age spots showing through. But the finish was a nice kind of lifelike, skin-like satin matte. It was not a full matte though, if that's what you're looking for. Definitely a natural looking matte, which is what I prefer. It doesn't do anything really to disguise or blur or diffuse your texture, but because of the nice semi-matte finish on it, it doesn't do anything to draw attention to it or accentuate it either. It's a really lovely finish on the skin. It looks undetectable when used in small amounts. It doesn't look like makeup. So I think that it gives a really beautiful finish. I loved how it looked when I first put it on. The other great thing about this is that it didn't settle into my pores and it did not settle into any wrinkles. I did go ahead and set my forehead and my cheeks with It Bye Bye Pores HD powder. I also picked up the Backstage eyeshadow palette while I was buying Backstage stuff. So I used this that day. It's a really pretty palette. It's funny because it was a Sunday. I was going out to work in my garden, and so I had this really dramatic purple sparkly eye look going on to go outside and do gardening, but I did want to test the foundation to see if it really was waterproof and really was sweat proof, so that we could find out if you could have a hot flash in it and it would stay on your face. So I went out and worked in my garden for 4 solid hours. It was 86 degrees and pretty high humidity out, so I was sweating it up out there. So I came back in for the 5-hour check-in, and I was shocked to see how good the makeup still looked. After all that sweating and all that like wiping my brow and everything, it was still mainly in place. The only place it was worn off was a tiny bit around my nose and my chin, but it hadn't gotten any shinier. It hadn't settled into wrinkles or pores. I was really, really impressed. I do have a couple of breakouts on my face that day. Those are from a foundation I wore the previous day. That was the Revlon Full Cover foundation. I've worn this DIOR for 4 days straight now, and I have had no breakouts. I'd say it definitely is sweat proof. It definitely is waterproof. It's looking good. It's not overly shiny. It's just really knocking my socks off and thrilling me, and this was with no primer and barely any helpers, so really impressed with this. I came back for a 9-hour check-in. It was pretty patchy looking with a lot of my redness showing through. It was starting to accentuate my pores a little bit more, but it didn't feel dry at all throughout the day. It didn't look dry. It didn't look like makeup. It was lightweight and comfortable to wear all day. It just wasn't looking so good at the 9-hour mark. All right, so moving on to day 2. The second day I tried it with a different sunscreen. So I used it on the second day with my Australian Gold sunscreen mixed with my Hydropeptide sunscreen. I decided to use a little bit of primer to see if I could get it to wear a little bit longer on the second day. So I used my Smashbox Photo Finish Light Primer, and I decided to try to apply it with a sponge, even though I felt like it probably wasn't going to work well with a sponge because it was going to probably absorb into the sponge and not leave any makeup on my face. And sure enough, that was the case. The sponge soaked up a ton of the foundation and didn't put much on my skin. You can still see like some spots and redness coming through there. Same over here, redness on the front, spots on my nose and things. So let's just go in with the brush and see if we can build this up a bit. I ended up using probably about 2 or 3 times as much as I had on the first day because I decided to try to build it up to medium coverage, and I did manage to build it. It is easy to build because it does stay damp and tacky for about 20 minutes. Even at the fuller coverage, it didn't settle into wrinkles and it didn't settle into pores. So yesterday I went outside and worked in the garden in it, was very happy with it. Today I'm just going to be inside editing videos, so I'm not going to powder it. We will see if it gets shiny. I do like the finish on it. It's got a little bit of luminosity to it. I do have a highlighter on, so ignore that part, but the rest of my face, that does have a little luminosity. It's good. It's not completely flat. It just feels a little heavier on my skin today. Looks a little heavier on my skin. You know, where I did try to build it up to full coverage, went in with the 2 coats, used a lot more, but it still does look pretty and it looks very nice. So, you know, liking it from that standpoint, just not as much as yesterday. At the 5-hour check-in, it was wearing well and still in place, but it was starting to get a little shinier around my nose and between my eyebrows, where my texture was then becoming accentuated. I'm always quizzing my girls. I'm like, how do you like this foundation? How do you like this foundation? She was like, it looks pretty good, but on your forehead it looks pretty cakey. My cheeks and nose still look pretty good. But I feel like the way it was sitting on the surface, it looked more obvious, it looked more makeup-y, but it didn't settle into wrinkles or pores, and it looked fine from a distance. At the 10-hour check-in, it has gotten slightly shinier. It's not like totally luminous or greasy looking, but it is just a little bit more luminous. It certainly is not matte anymore, but it is just so textured looking, especially right up here. This is, you know, my problem area with the texture there, fronts of my cheeks, a little bit on my chin. It's not actually that worn off for 11 hours. So for the third day that I wore it, I used it with Anessa Perfect UV Sunscreen. This one is a chemical mineral sunscreen mix. I didn't put on any primer. I applied it with a flat top kabuki brush. I applied very little. I wanted a real skin-like, you know, beautiful, no makeup-y look with it. And I did set it with Kat Von D Lock-It setting powder. And it went on very sheer. It looked light and natural, but I gotta say it didn't last for more than a few hours. Alrighty, 5 hours in, day 3 with DIOR Backstage. Not happy with it today. I don't think it liked this sunscreen. Today, it's just not wearing well. It looked fine earlier. It looked really skin-like and nice, but it has gotten shinier and it's worn off quite a bit. Usual places, middle of the forehead, around the nose, and on the chin. The rest of my face looks okay, but it looks really textury because of the shine. So I didn't come back in for any more check-ins because the foundation really wasn't wearing very well. So for today, I actually had a hair color appointment this morning at 9. So I put this on at 8:30 this morning. I went super sheer with it because, of course, you know, when you're in the hair chair, they like splash water all over you and they wash your makeup off your forehead and everything. And I used the Make Prem sunscreen again today because I thought that's what worked best on the first day. I didn't use any primer. Then when I got home from the hairdressers at around 11, I did fix it up a little bit. I did put on a little bit of concealer down the center of my face, my chin, and some of my spots just to, you know, get some nice YouTube kind of makeup going on. Added some makeup over it. I set it today with my IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores powder again, and I think it's looking good considering that, oh, it's now almost 4 o'clock, so I've had this on for like 7.5 hours already. So we still have a couple more tests to do on this one. The sun did come out for a second today. I did run outside and get the outdoor footage. So let me bring in the kitchen and outdoor footage now. We'll take a look at that. And then we'll come back for the phone test and the flash test. Doing the kitchen light test on the DIOR Backstage. I think it looks really nice. I love the semi-matte finish on it. Oh wait, it's sprinkling. I bet there's gonna be a rainbow. All right, doing the phone test where I pretend to have a conversation with someone about something so that we can see if this transfers onto our telephone. I actually had almost the first one that didn't transfer last week. If you're looking for something that truly is transfer proof, it was the IT CC Plus Oil-Free Matte. All right, let's see how the phone comes out. Kind of a big smudge of makeup on there, so I'm gonna give that a fail on the phone test. Let's do the flash photo. It's not giving flashback, but I look ridiculously greasy and textury. I really hate that. She's very sad. She doesn't like how her face looks in that. I'm just gonna need a lot of Facetune to blur that out. So let's do the pros and cons on this one. On the pros side, it is easy to apply with your fingers or with a brush. It's buildable, even though I don't really love how it looks when you build it up. It is sweat and waterproof. It has a lovely satin matte finish that is very skin-like, very natural looking. It doesn't settle into wrinkles. It doesn't settle into pores. It is fairly oil controlling, I'd say, for at least half the day, maybe 6 or 7 hours. So that is a decent amount, and I was really blown away by how well it controlled shine and oil on the day that I was out sweating it out in the hot sun gardening. And I didn't ever find it to be drying. It seems lightweight and comfortable to wear. It doesn't make my skin look old. It makes my skin look fairly youthful. So those are the things that I love about it. Now there are a few things that I didn't love about it so much, and those are, of course, the high alcohol content, the fragrance, that it doesn't work really well with some of my favorite sunscreens. sunscreens, or that you can't extend the wear with a primer, so it doesn't really play well with others. When you build it up, it can look a little cakey and a little bit more like makeup, but I think overall the pros outweigh the cons. I think this is a lovely foundation that looks really nice on older skin because it doesn't make you look older. It doesn't make you, you know, those matte foundations that just make you look so dry and powdered and cracked and, you know, those things. It's not like those. It's really a very modern kind of matte, a natural matte that looks great on older skin. And so I think it's great to use for more casual occasions, you know, like lunch with the girls or everyday running errands. You could even wear it to the beach or to the gym if you like to wear makeup to the beach or the gym. I think it would last very well through a hot flash. You know, I wouldn't wear it if you are going to a wedding or if you really need to look perfect and put together. For that, I think there are better foundations that look better, last longer, and will not give you that greasy flashback with a flash photo. I would really be worried about that. If you were thinking of wearing this for a special occasion, I would definitely try it on before, take a flash photo in a darkened room so you can see what it's going to look like. You know, of course, for that special occasion, I will always recommend my Chanel Perfection Lumiere Velvet. This is my holy grail. So that is my entire review on the DIOR Backstage Face and Body foundation for today. So I hope you found it helpful and informative. If you did, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. So have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.